I'm the Lightning Turk, and welcome back to another Supremacy 1914 roleplay game, actually. Today's roleplay game will be simple and straightforward. It's going to be pretty much practicing making posts and, just general advice on how to do roleplays and how to make posts in roleplay games. So, we have a little two-player map. I'm doing training with a fellow roleplayer. His name is Patton789. Hey, Patton. Hey, hey. Anyways, he is President Duros Juarez. I am President Thomas Woodrow Wilson. And, we're just fucking around. We're testing systems. We're seeing what works and what doesn't work. So we're only on day 2, but I'm just going to go over day 1. So essentially, your initial post. I was going to work on talking about initial posts and things after that. Relations with countries, making posts on nations outside of the map, or what you do outside of the map, or what you talk about outside of the map. So first of all, first things first. Let's just initially, when you join the game, I would say, since it's a role play and it's going to be a long skill game, and you're going to have to do a lot in a long amount of time, I highly suggest, in tense situations where you have borders with many nations or dangerous borders and nations. I'm just showing my troops because I don't give a fuck. I don't give a single fuck because I can see your troops too, bitch. I'm kidding. Sorry. Anyways, the thing to do, I personally like to fort up on my borders to try to, defend myself against possible intrusions or invasions, off the bat. Because if you invade somebody off the bat in a roleplay game, like day 1 or day 2, it's a dick move. It's really a cunt move. You're a faggot if you do something like that. Like, honestly, is that necessary? Do you have to, like, invade people? Can you not survive on your own? Do you have more than half a brain? But, just insulting people aside, um, I always suggest forting up for your, neighbors to not see your territories and not see the amount of troops you have. For example, I can see that he has 11K in Baja California. He has 20K in Chihuahua, and he's moving more troops into Chihuahua and Coahuila. I can't. I'm not Spanish. I'm Turkish. I can't. I can't. Anyways, yeah, I have very few troops here, and I'm going to be building them up and moving them through. You see this? You see this 104K? Anyways, so that's essentially the babble that I talk about in the beginning of the game. If you have economic problems, for example, I am low on fish. I have a very bad amount of fish loss going on. If I want to be able to fix this, I want to build harbors right off the bat in as many places as possible to be able to save my nation and provide economic stability that will keep my nation and country going throughout the entirety of the game and the duration of the game period, which is usually long. If it's a role play, it's like a solid more than 30 days. It should be more than like 50 days actually, but around there. Anyways, getting to the meat and potatoes of this video I'm making at the moment. Your first post. What should your first post be on? Like, classically in a roleplay, your first post is usually, just like an explanation, an intro for your nation and its general conditions. It's a classic RP starting thing where you explain your situation, your relationship with some nations around you, and your condition of government. Do you have any revolts? Do you have any rebellions going on in any provinces? Do you have possibly regional violence going on that you need to take care of within your country? Aside from that, relations with other nations, how you're doing, how you're talking to people, what you're going to be focusing on, who you're going to be talking to for the duration of the game, and just your general location. People aren't stupid, not like serious location. I mean like political location. Are you a democracy? Are you a fascist dictatorship? Are you an imperialistic government? So, that these things, once you post these things and once you talk about these things, people read it and people can understand, is this guy going to attack me? Is this guy going to be friendly? Is this guy going to be someone I need to worry about? Essentially, that's pretty much it. Like, that's my babble going on. That would be my day 1 babble. Like, this is all my personal thing. This is what I would do. There are many other role players with different forms of posting, different strategies for role playing, and I highly recommend you check them out. For example, on the forums there are posts by multiple players multiple experienced role players, many more experienced than me. I'm just, I'm slightly good at this. Slightly. I'm more of a roleplay maker than a roleplay player. But anyways, all of these players, I would love if you check them out. I'm gonna put a link in the description. You guys can just like read it and weep, weep tears of joy of how beautiful they can explain it better than me. But anyways, that would be your day one post. That would pretty much be it. Day two, you're still getting into the game. You're still learning what to do. You're still, generally forming tensions with the countries around you. Now, like the reason I made this post was because this game is going to be shorter than you expect. So I would generally expect tensions to be building up around day 5. You would have to wait until then. In the meantime, I would personally, until day 5, post about your inner workings, your government, and your system of country ability. Do you have problems with transportation that you're going to be worrying about? Are you going to be building ports in certain provinces to allow an increased amount of trade to enhance stability within your country and within your nation, within your empire? These are the types of things you would be posting about until day 5 or until day 4 or 3, something of that nature. You're not going to be posting tensions with other nations until around day 5. If you do, you're sort of an aggressive guy and you're going to be aggressively expanding. It'll be obvious you're going to be aggressively expanding. So, for example, this tension article that I wrote, tensions rise with Mexican bandits. Banditos on the border of Mexico and Texas are going to be large-scale problems for the stability of the region and, just trade transportation wise. So the National Guard has sent 2,000 soldiers to be able to protect the regional node points between Coahuila, Texas, and Chihuahua. And that has given me basically something like that. You load something like that, and then you post it, and that gives you the ability, or it gives you confirmation that you can actually send a small scout force into these borders, like at the borders of the provinces, to be able to both scout and find out what your neighbor is doing in its regions, and at the same time be able to just enhance the role playing experience by, coming up with something you know what to do and that everyone knows isn't an aggressive move. Your neighbor can't label it as an aggressive action. Your neighbor will either assist you in taking down banditos in the region by moving um, another scout to the other side and, just like staring it off and facing off, or essentially building up forts to be able to block your view of their provinces. It's like a strategic thing. You got to focus. You got to not raise suspicion in games really quickly, because if you do, then they're gonna not like you. And that's pretty much it for like day 1 and up to day 5 posts. Like, tensions would be around day 5. You're gonna be posting about, let's say, I'm going to say, questions over the legitimacy of Mexican control over Baja California. We control California. We should have more legitimate control over the entire Californian region. Since California and Baja California and Baja California Sur, these regions are um, connected, regionally connected. Hey, there we go. Essentially, it's sort of like bullshit, but it's historical bullshit. You got to know what you're doing to be able to formulate a good idea and a good opinion about what you should do in the future. One more thing before I close up this video: if you're gonna make posts on things outside the map, say I make a post on what's happening in Europe in 1914, but only in America and Europe is completely outside the map zone. Don't make it like America is invading Europe. Don't attack other people that aren't even in the map, please. It's stupid. It's unnecessary. Like, you imperializing elsewhere is, of course, understandable. However, it doesn't help at all, and it just gives your neighbor or an enemy another chance to be able to discredit you and say, hey, this guy's invading people outside the map. We should probably invade him now. It just gives other people a reason to attack you, instead of you giving a reason to, getting a reason to attack your enemies. So most likely I could do, American claims on the Bahamas, American claims on Cuba. America had claimed Cuba in like the 1800s, late 1800s, like 1890s. And, it's only 1914, so those claims haven't been dried out yet. So, that could be something I could do. Or Mexico could always claim just the whole of California, Arizona, don't know the state, New Mexico, there we go. New Mexico and Texas. Like, these are straight up, Mexican like states. These are states that could become Mexican. He could claim those things and he could just go for it. Like he could come up with a good claim, a solid claim, wait a few days for tensions to rise between both nations, and then invade them. And that's pretty much it. So GG guys, I'll see y'all later, and peace. Woo!